The sound hit me like a gut punch a low, choking gurgle, like a beast drowning in its own blood. I'd spent 35 years ranching, but nothing prepared me for that moment in the summer of 2024, standing under the relentless sun of Willow Bend, Texas, when the hose in my hand went slack. The water stopped, the nozzle betraying me with a final drip. I stared at it, my boots grinding into the cracked earth, thinking the pump had died or a valve had blown. But when I reached the well control box, my ranch hand, Caleb, was holding a laminated notice like it was a death warrant. One word screamed in red ink: disconnected. I ripped it from his hand, reading aloud as if words could undo the madness. Due to non-compliance with HOA utility standards, water access has been terminated. My eyes flicked to the property line, where the HOA's boundary crept like a venomous vine. They'd done it. The HOA shut off my well, not just my water, but the lifeline feeding an underground tank leased to the county fire department for wildfire emergencies. This wasn't a petty squabble. It was a reckless act that could cost lives, and I was about to make someone regret it. Drop a comment with where you're reading from. This story of a rancher's fight against a tyrant with a clipboard will grip you tight. Willow Bend was a patchwork of sprawling ranches and a new subdivision with manicured lawns and HOA rules strangling the air. When I bought my land 20 years ago, it was free of their nonsense, but the development crept closer, their fences nibbling at my borders. That well wasn't just for my cattle or crops, it was a state-registered emergency supply, critical for tanker refills during fire season, which was raging now. A 20-mile detour for water could mean homes burned, lives lost. I grabbed my phone and called Rachel, the fire department's liaison for our contract. She answered, voice sharp. Luke, we've got a problem. The refill crew hit a dry line. Did you shut the tap? I told her about the HOA notice. Silence, then a slow breath. No way. Tell me this is a joke. I wish, I said. Someone with a wrench and an ego just made a lethal mistake. I tore down to the HOA office with Caleb, the notice crumpled in my fist. In the community center lot, I spotted her Susan Whitaker, the HOA president, ruling over a flower bed like a dictator in a floral dress. Clipboard in hand, she was berating a landscaper over mulch placement. I approached, voice low but steel hard. Susan, you cut off my well. She glanced up, squinting. We removed an unregistered pipe on HOA land. I laughed, short and bitter. That unregistered pipe is a county fire supply, state approved. You just broke the law. Her smile didn't crack. No record of that. It's an eyesore against our bylaws. I stepped closer, towering over her. You're obstructing emergency services. Do you know what that means? She smirked. File the proper paperwork like everyone else. That was the spark that lit my fuse. Back home, Rachel called again. The chief's furious. He's coming with the contract files. We're meeting them in person. I grabbed my records, lease agreements, permits, photos of fire trucks at the well end, headed to the HOA meeting, a farce of folding chairs and wine glasses. Susan stood at a podium, pontificating about parking lines when the fire chief, Tom, stormed in, badge gleaming. Rachel behind him with a folder thick as a brick. The room froze. Tom slapped the documents down. Your HOA blocked a state emergency water supply, violating safety laws. Susan's smile twitched. I wasn't aware the pipe had no markings. Rachel cut in. It was painted orange last fall. A photo showed fire access only in bold letters. Susan stammered. I thought it was graffiti. I laughed, loud and raw, drawing every eye. Tom didn't flinch. Your interference delayed a tanker fill during a wildfire watch. If lives are lost, you're liable. Susan paled, mumbling about forming a committee. Tom shut her down. You don't negotiate after sabotaging a fire line. Get a lawyer. By dawn, Tom's crew confirmed the damaged crude clamp on the main valve, a sloppy lock that could have burst the pipe under pressure. Caleb's photos showed the fire department's hose coupler dangling uselessly. The county inspector called it criminal negligence. Rachel filed a report, escalating it to the state. Susan had no idea the fire sheet started. My lawyer, Greg, asked if I wanted to sue the HOA or Susan personally. Which hurts more? I asked. He grinned. Personal. I told him to draft the papers. That night, with a wildfire creeping closer, Tom warned me the 12-hour delay in restoring the well could cost homes. I knew who to blame. Susan called an emergency HOA session to clarify misunderstandings. I showed up with Rachel, a county safety officer, and a deputy. Susan, in a pastel scarf, spun tales of good faith errors. Rachel interrupted. That pipe was permitted and marked. I dropped a binder on the podium, 5 years of certified mail receipts Susan had signed. Gasps rippled through the room. The deputy handed her a notice of a criminal complaint under review. Susan's eyes darted, finding no allies. I took the mic. This wasn't a mistake. It was sabotage. If this cost a life, it's manslaughter. 2 board members, including Ed, apologized later, admitting Susan acted alone. Ed slipped me a flash drive security footage of Susan ordering her cousin to clamp the pipe, saying, "If they want water, they'll beg me." It was damning. The story broke the next day. HOA shuts off emergency water, endangers fire response. Photos of the clamp, Tom's statement, and Susan's podium speech went viral. Online, residents and firefighters demanded her resignation. Memes exploded. A wrench-wielding Susan captioned, "HOA hero, flowers over safety." Susan vanished, claiming a vacation, but I wasn't done. Greg froze the HOA's funds, citing Susan's misuse to hire her cousin. The HOA couldn't pay for their July 4th picnic, and residents fumed. Susan's flag-raising event flopped when Greg's cease and desist arrived mid-ceremony, her face twisting as neighbors whispered. The county suspended the HOA clubhouse's permit for lacking fire access, locking Susan out during a planned brunch. A backhoe tore up her prized lawn for a pipe inspection, pink tape mocking her obsession. Ed called Susan was losing the board. A group chat leaked, members accusing her of lies and threats. I built a temporary fire access point on my land, with signs and a QR code linking to the county's water map. Tom called it a model setup, sparking a county policy to protect private wells. My well became a safety standard, while Susan's newsletter was gutted by her own board. Susan's final stand was a desperate open house at her home, but only reporters showed, grilling her until she tripped over a hose, lemonade-soaked photos going viral. I hosted a fire department event, burgers, demos, news coverage titled "Rancher Turns Sabotage into Safety." Susan's name wasn't mentioned, but her shadow loomed. The HOA's last fine against me for unsanctioned events was laughed off by Greg, citing county approval. Susan's downfall wasn't sudden, it was a slow rot. A county server delivered a negligence complaint, followed by my civil suit for contract obstruction. The HOA audit exposed her embezzlement, shredding her credibility. Her manifesto email, blaming outsiders, backfired, earning savage replies and memes. The county ruled Susan's actions willful, fining the HOA and naming her personally. The board voted her out unanimously, issuing an apology she refused to sign. In depositions, she blamed everyone, her cousin, the board, my butt footage and emails buried her. She vanished, her lawn yellowing, her house sold quietly. Willow Bend changed, neighbors talked, fences became projects, a community garden bloomed. Rachel invited me to a safety drill, where I spoke. This isn't about rules. It's about responsibility. A near misfire, delayed by Susan's clamp, nearly cost a farm, underscoring the stakes. One morning, I stood by the well, a granite marker gleaming, emergency fire access. Tampering prosecuted. The HOA, humbled, honored me with a certificate. I accepted, saying, "Water's not power, it's protection." Neighbors apologized, one bringing a pecan pie. Susan's collapse became legend, a warning in a news column, from clamp to court. My quote, "Trust, not control," builds community hung in the fire station. Power isn't shutting things down, it's keeping them running. The well hummed, the land safe, Susan a ghost. Would you have fought like I did, or let it slide? Have you faced someone abusing power over something vital? Did you push back or stay silent? Drop, yes, if you'd have taken her down. No, if you'd have walked away. Share your story, what happened when you faced a tyrant with a title? Hit like if this burned you up, and subscribe for more stories that expose truth. Let's keep the fight alive.